Many years ago, when I chose to estrange from my mother, I finally felt able to breathe. But I soon learned that breathing room doesn't always bring peace. I found myself wrestling with the question that many people who go no contact eventually face. Was this estrangement truly protecting me, or was it creating a new kind of pain? And the two aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Family distance isn't always the answer, but sometimes it is. Here's how to know whether estrangement is protecting you or harming you. I'm Dr. Sam, a chartered psychologist specialising in family estrangement. For over 10 years, I've worked with hundreds of people navigating difficult family relationships, combining research and clinical experience and my own lived experience. And together we'll explore what the psychology says about estrangement, how it can sometimes act as a safeguard, yet also lead to emotional turmoil. Let's start with a fundamental truth that most people struggling with estrangement never hear. There's no universal right answer. The decision to maintain distance from family members exists on a spectrum, and what serves one person's healing journey might completely derail another's recovery process. Let me introduce Maria, a 34-year-old teacher who made the decision, a really difficult one, to cut contact with her mother 3 years ago after spending decades tangled in a web of emotional manipulation and guilt trips. Initially, the silence felt like freedom. For the first time in years, Maria slept soundly, her anxiety reduced. She even attended social gatherings with a smile rather than that familiar cloud of anxiety that used to hang over her head. But around 18 months into the estrangement, Maria started to experience unexpected waves of grief, not just for the relationship she'd lost, but for the mother she'd always hoped she might have. Maria found herself questioning whether distance was helping her heal or simply freezing her in the same emotional patterns she'd grown up with. She began to wonder if time apart had changed her mother as well, or if it had only changed her. And what Maria was feeling is something I see all the time. When distance is genuinely protective, people usually notice that over time, their nervous system settles. They still have hard moments, but their days feel steadier overall. They're not constantly bracing for the next emotional hit. But when estrangement starts to hurt more than it helps, something else happens. The relief fades. You might feel emotionally flat, stuck in your head, or grieving quietly in ways that don't seem to move forward. The distance creates space, but not the kind that actually heals. One thing that's helpful here comes from the work of Joshua Coleman. He's found that healthier forms of estrangement usually leave some flexibility, clear boundaries, yes, but also an openness to reassessing things if real change ever happens. So not rushing back, not forcing contact, but not emotionally sealing the door shut either. When estrangement becomes more damaging, that flexibility disappears. The cutoff isn't just external, it becomes internal. There's no room for reflection. There's no space for growth. Just a hard line that keeps everything frozen in place. Take Robert, for example. He cut contact with his father after years of abuse and addiction. But he didn't shut everything down. He kept loose ties through siblings. He stayed connected to extended family and was clear with himself about what would need to change before contact could ever resume. So when his father eventually did seek treatment and showed sustained sobriety and made genuine amends, Robert was in fact emotionally prepared to cautiously rebuild their relationship. Now, if we compare that with Jennifer, after a major betrayal by her sister, she cut contact completely and then she kept cutting. She asked friends to take sides, she blocked any information about her sister and gradually lost touch with most of her wider family. Years later, the anger hadn't softened, it had spread, making closeness feel risky in every relationship, not just that one. So the key difference lies in flexibility versus rigidity. Protective estrangement maintains emotional flexibility and preserves your capacity for connection with others, whereas harmful estrangement calcifies into rigid thinking patterns that in fact contaminate your entire relationship ecosystem. Just notice the story you tell yourself about estrangement, not the facts, the story. Ask yourself, in my head, am I always the victim? And are they always the villain? When estrangement is helping, people usually still hold some complexity. They can recognise that whatever hurt them and acknowledge their own reactions. They can want distance while still wishing the other person well. When it's not, the story hardens. Everything becomes black and white. There's no room for nuance, reflection, or responsibility, just a fixed role that never changes. There are times when outside professional support really matters. So if you notice that thinking about good moments from your family past brings more guilt than warmth, or that you keep ending up in relationships that feel painfully familiar, that's worth paying attention to. The same goes if you catch yourself acting in ways you once promised you never would. These aren't signs you made the wrong decisions, they are signs that there might be unresolved pieces that distance alone can't address. It also helps to look at what estrangement has done to your wider social world. When distance is protective, people can usually maintain other relationships without asking anyone to take sides. Their boundaries are personal, not contagious. When it's not, estrangement often spreads. Friends feel pulled into loyalty tests, family networks shrink, and over time, isolation can grow, even from people who were never part of the original harm. Your body offers clues too. For some people, estrangement brings real physical relief. Better sleep, fewer stress-related symptoms, more energy. That's often a sign the boundary was necessary. But if your health hasn't improved, or if stress symptoms have followed you into the distance, it may not be contact that's keeping the pain alive. It may be unprocessed trauma that needs care, not more avoidance. Here's something that might completely change how you view your situation. The most successful estrangement outcomes aren't actually about the other person changing at all. They're about you developing sufficient internal strength and clarity that you can engage or not engage from a position of choice rather than reactive fear. The goal isn't necessarily permanent distance or inevitable reconciliation. The goal is reaching a place where you can make relationship decisions from wisdom rather than wounds, from strength rather than survival mode. And that transformation is entirely within your control, regardless of what your family members choose to do with their own lives.